Freedom allows and supports questioning and dialogue. Thus, we learn to question our world and always seek better ways. I think anybody who's been through traditional education knows we do not teach to question, we teach to follow, do what you're told, stay in your seat, don't ask questions. Once in a while you'll get a teacher who likes questions, but it's questions under the guise of the system, which lets them know the teacher's in charge, the teacher's going to test you, so that even when they're allowed to question, the questions aren't the true questions that come in a free environment. In order to make this world a better place, we have to have people, not in the next century, in the next day or month or year, with the way things are going, that question how we do things and that really believe that we can improve almost every system, not just education. But you know, the fact of the matter is, if a doctor were Rip Van Winkle and died 100 years ago and came back and went into a hospital, he would hardly know the place with all these new machines. But if an educator came back, they'd feel right at home in the school system. We haven't changed in 100 years. That's really sad. And we still believe that the most important education, what they call core knowledge or whatever, is this small bit of information in a world where information is almost doubling daily. And if this were the amount of information, this whole front wall in the world today, and it's doubling daily, what we consider every child has to know is this. There's something wrong with my thinking. Even a 5-year-old knows that. Okay? You know, yeah, I have a PhD, but when I think of all the hours and days and months and years of my life that I wasted learning things that I did not need to know for my purposes, for my personal purposes in life, it appalls me. I know had I been allowed to pursue my own interests, my own dreams, that I would have learned everything I needed to learn, almost without a teacher. Because learning does not necessitate a teacher. And we've been brought up to believe that it does. But if you really search your own life for the times that you've learned something that you cared about, that you felt passionate about, that you wanted to know, you didn't need a teacher. And if you did, you sought out the person that you wanted, not the person that was given to you. Number 2, students are free to follow their passions, to find their purpose, to pursue their interests, and to blossom holistically, valuing the wisdom of their intellect, heart, and intuition equally. I think one of the greatest disservices that the school system has done to our society is to raise the cognitive to the place of a God. That's out of whack, it's out of balance, and human beings, when they're out of balance, are dysfunctional. And whether we like it or not, I believe that we as a culture are dysfunctional. And I think one of the most important things that Sudbury Education gives to kids is a balance of developing their mind, their heart, their intuition, their soul, their whole being. I think that's extremely important for the individual and for the culture. And it's fascinating because as children develop holistically like that, their minds soar above the minds of most children in the cognitive system, which is fascinating. 3, everyone's giftedness is valued and there are no labels. In a 40-year history at Sudbury Valley School, the initial Sudbury School outside Boston, there has been no label. no dyslexia, no child unable to read because of a learning disability. When children are given the freedom to learn in their own way, there are no learning disabilities. People naturally compensate for their weaknesses. We all do it all the time. And self-esteem develops when I learn how to compensate for my weaknesses. Self-esteem is diminished when I'm labeled and don't think any child, worked in special ed for many years, don't think any child with a special ed label doesn't feel diminished. They do. They feel less than. And that's harmful. Confidence and self-esteem grow daily. I think I already addressed that. It's really, really important for young children to get that sense of confidence. And when they're doing it for the teacher or for the system or for mommy or daddy, they feel good. But they don't get that sense of confidence. That when they find something they want to tackle and they do it and I refer to my 1.5-year-old grandson. He's been dying to step off the stairs or step off something. So you know what he did? He turned over his little chair this way because this part is closer to the floor. And he practiced stepping off that. So the first time he did it without falling, now he had no idea I was watching him. The first time he did it without falling, you could see his entire being. He didn't care that anybody was watching. That's not what was important. That's what I mean by confidence. And that happens, I'll tell you, I saw the same thing in a 16-year-old boy at our school in Florida when he decided he was going to be a filmmaker. And he found an independent filmmaker who was filming in St. Petersburg, and he got himself to do an internship with the director as his assistant. And I saw that same, nobody told him to do it. When he wanted to do it, nobody told him how to do it. He figured it out on his own. He's an artist in California today doing unbelievably. This is about 10 years ago I'm talking about. But it's that feeling of confidence that comes from in here, not because someone wants me to do it. That's what is so vitally important for children, for teenagers, for adults. That's what helps all of us to feel good about ourselves. 5, there's a joy and excitement about living and learning and coming to school every day because there's no difference between living and learning. Because just like the little toddler who wakes up every morning like, what's today going to bring? That's the way Sudbury kids come to school. What's today going to bring? Sometimes it's planned, sometimes it happens because their friend says, hey, did you do this, or did you see this, or would you? It's an environment of enthusiasm and excitement about life and learning that continues day after day, year after year. And children who are lucky enough to have the experience won't leave it. Except for one. Let me tell you a story. Diane, the teacher who started the Sudbury School in Florida with me, has 3 children. Corey, her oldest, who is now about 12, who started as an infant with us. I think when she was about 9 or 10, decided she wanted to go to public school. She loved Spring Valley School, but she wanted to go to public school. She lasted 2 days. It's fascinating to hear about public school through the eyes of a 10-year-old who's never been there. It's kind of like the story, you know, you drop the frog into boiling water and they'll jump right out, but if you put a frog in hot water and turn up the temperature, they'll stay in and die, which I think is happening to a lot of kids.